Hello, my name is Dee Hampton, and my motivational speech for today is called The Dreaded Phone Call. Cell phones, greatest creation ever made. Keeps you in contact, and for a parent, it's your lifeline to your kid. You see, as a mother, your job is to answer that phone. On December 18th, 2023, I got a phone call that changed my life forever. You see, being a mother to me was the greatest thing I could ever be. It fulfilled me, it satisfied me, it checked all the boxes on my checklist. Something I never regret. You see, my son Jaden, he was a light, he was special. He was a kid that smile lit up the room, always was worried about others before himself. He was healthy, he was funny, he was my baby. But the week before Christmas, December 18th, 2023, my son left to go to the gym and he didn't come back. I remember that morning like it was yesterday. I was in my bed and my son came to the room and he said, "Mama, I'm going to the gym real quick." And my response was, "Okay, I'll be here when you get back." He left out, and probably 20 minutes later, I got a phone call. First reaction is, who's calling me this early? Probably a telemarketer. But as a mother, you answer that call. The person on the other end said, "Miss Hampton, are you Jaden's mom?" My answer was yes. She said, "Your son has collapsed and they're doing CPR." I said, "Are you sure you're talking about Jaden Hampton?" And she said, "Yes, ma'am. And the ambulance is on its way." I fell to my knees. I cried out, "Please don't take my son. Please, please don't take my son. Take me. Take me." I threw on some clothes. I got in the car. I don't know how I got there, but I got to the gym. It was right down the street. When I walked in the gym, it's like everybody was in a daze. Some people were crying. A lot of people were on their knees praying. I kept hearing, "Why him?" And out the corner of my eye, I could see the paramedics over there working on someone. I knew it was Jaden. I walked over, but I didn't want to get too close because I wanted them to do what they were trained to do, save my son. But I was in a nightmare. It didn't seem real. My son was 20. He's healthy. He goes to the gym all the time. They put him in the ambulance, and I followed the ambulance while I called my husband. And I told my husband that he needed to come immediately because I think Jay's had a heart attack and we're on the way to the hospital. I cried, I begged. I don't know how I got to the hospital. But when I got there, the chaplain was already at the door and I just started backpedaling. I was like, "No, no, 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 no." And he said, "No, Miss Hampton, I don't know anything. I just came to meet you and take you to the room so we can wait together. I followed them to the room. We prayed. I told them, I said, my son, he's healthy. He plays sports. He hasn't had anything like this happen. My son just finished his college degree. My son just finished his summer intern. My son just bought his dream car 2 weeks ago. My son was ready to start 2024 with a bang because his life was just beginning. He checked off everything on his vision board. He was ready to start life, not my baby. But when the doctor came in, it was like one of those movies and TV shows when they got that look on their face and you know it's not good news. He told me my son didn't make it. And I felt like the air was sucked out of my body and I screamed. And my husband walked in at the same time and he knew. He knew. He crumbled. And our lives changed that day. We went to the room and my son was laying on the table with a tube in his mouth. Crazy thing was, he was never so handsome. Every curl in place. And he looked so peaceful. But what was missing was the light. He was a shell. I just wanted to touch him. I just wanted him to come back. He was still warm. I could feel him. And he wasn't there. We called all the family and friends and they made it to the hospital for support. But there was nothing nobody could do. We made it back to the house and there was all kind of people there, but I just couldn't relate. It still wasn't real. The only thing I wanted to do was go to his bed and just hold his pillow and smell him. That's the only connection I had left, and I needed that at least. So I stayed in his room. The next couple of days were blurred. I'm talking about I cried more than I probably had in my whole life. I felt dry. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't understand. Grief is something on that degree I never felt before because natural orders for him to bury me, not me bury him. I asked why. Me and my husband, we were in a dark place. And even though we had so many friends and family who helped us with everything, me and him, we had to hold on to each other to try to make it through. And we had the question, where is he? We need to know, where is he? I mean, me and my husband, we grew up in church. We believe in heaven and hell. We believe that there's an afterlife, that spirits go somewhere. But where is Jaden? Where is he? Is he okay? I need to know that. So that was our question. And then I thought about it. I told my husband, I said, I think I might know something. I think I might have an answer. Maybe we can contact somebody. I said, my friend about a couple of years ago, she had a medium party. I was out of town, so I didn't get to go, but they had a older lady come to her home and she did readings. When I got back in town, I called her because I was just like, so we believe in mediums now? Because I was always brought up, that's not of God. That's probably bogus. And she told me, nah, D, I wouldn't have anything in my home that was not of God. You know, I grew up in church. And the lady that does the reading, she's an older lady in the church. She just has a gift. She said, people have gifts, whether it's a gift of preaching, singing. She has a gift to connect to loved ones. She said, nah, D, she's a godly person. So I was just like, well, I didn't get to come, but maybe next time. So when Jaden died, I called her and I was just like, hey, I need that lady's number because I need something. And she told me that that lady died. But I'm sure we can find someone. You look and I'll look. And I was just like, okay, I'll look. So I did. I went on the internet and I read reviews and I looked up people and I found the older lady not too far that had an appointment that Saturday after he died. So me and my husband went. First time ever. But throughout this journey, I'm going to go through a lot of first. Me and my husband, we discussed it. I said, look, I put the appointment in my name. I'm not on social media, not Facebook, not Instagram, not nothing. She can't Google me. She can't find out that my son died. I said, if we go in and it don't feel right, we'll just leave. We'll pay her and leave. I said, we can't give her anything. If she's gifted, she'll know. My husband said, okay. So we went in. And the lady, she was very welcoming. She made us feel comfortable. She took us in the room and we sat down. And the first thing she did was she said prayer. And that made me feel good. She said prayer. And when she opened her eyes, the first thing she said was, y'all lost someone suddenly. And I said, yes. She said, your son is in the room. I said, okay. She said, your son wants you to know that he's good. It was his time. That all the questions you have, you're going to soon have answers for them. But he's in a good place. And it was his time. A tear ran down my face. She said, your son's surrounded by a lot of people. She said, on one side, I see an older man, real tall, bald-headed, real handy with his hands. Two names. And he had a long car. So I'm just like, I don't know. It wasn't my dad's father because he was short. He had hair, one name. Wasn't my husband's grandfather. He was short. He had hair, one name. I said, my mother's father. He died when I was in 6th grade. 6'4", bald-headed, handy with his hands. He built his own house. Had a long Lincoln that barely fitted in the garage. We used to go for rides in that Lincoln. And his name was Willie Paul. The medium said yes. She said on the other side is an older woman, dark skinned, somebody who raised her kids by herself, had a hard life, medical issues. And I said, yeah, I know who that is. That's Jaden's grandmother, my mother-in-law, my husband's mother. She died of pancreatic cancer pretty young, had epilepsy, had seizures all the time from stress, raised 4 kids by herself. My little boy had a picture of her around his neck that he wore on his necklace all the time. She had the most beautiful dark skin and long hair. She said she's on the other side and she's got them. She's running things. And I said, I bet she is. See, we're not telling this lady nothing, but she's hitting everything on the head. She asked us, she said, what do you want to know? I said, I just want to know where he's at. She said, sometimes when people pass, they stay here amongst us for a little while, and then they transition. She said, your son's light was so bright, his vibration was so high that he transitioned immediately. She said, he's surrounded by family and he's good, and he keeps saying that it was his time. You see, sometimes you're given a gift like that to teach and mold. And once you fill them up, they go on. They're only here for a set amount of time. But he's in a good place. She said that, does he have a sister? See, my husband was married before, so he has two sons and a daughter. We had a blended family. The daughter lived in Atlanta, though. But my little boy loved his brothers and sisters. So I was just like, yeah, he's got a sister in Atlanta. She said, you need to contact her. She said a couple of other things, which she was on point on those things too. Her timer went off and she ended it with, your son's at peace. He's in a good place. And that lifted a weight off of me and my husband's shoulders like I can't explain. Because you only want to know that your child is okay. The next day was Christmas. The first Christmas without my baby. His favorite holiday. We usually have a dinner and have everyone over. But I couldn't do that this year. So we just went to the movies. We went to see Color Purple. When we got back, his brothers came over. We opened them some gifts. And we called it a day. It was a sad Christmas. But we got through it. The next day was Monday. One whole week since Jaden had passed, and we had so much to do. I contacted his sister, and I told her, I said, me and your dad, we went to go see a medium, and she said, that's good. I'm glad you did that. She said, because my brother, he came to me the first night. You see, his sister, she's always been spiritual. She's meditate, she's yoga, she's crystals, and she's always been an old soul. So I wasn't surprised she said that. She said, Jaden came to me the first night he died in my dreams, and he said, sis, I'm good. I'm in a good place. She said, Jaden's light was so bright. His vibration was so high. And see, that's the same thing that medium lady said. Same words. She said, y'all showed him more in 20 years than most people see in 50. She said, my brother called me all the time. It made me feel like I was in Louisville right with y'all. He made me feel special. She said, but he's good. It was his time. And see, that was kind of like confirmation, because you got two people in two different states telling you the same thing about your son. It was deep. So that Monday morning, we had so much to do to get ready for the funeral. I told my husband, I said, I'm good. I know you're scared to leave me by myself, but I'm okay. I'm okay. We need to get all these things done. So he went his way and I went mine. We got back to the house about the same time and it was dark. But when we walked in the house and went up the stairs, we looked down the hall and there was a light on in my son's room. But nobody's been home all day. I called his brothers because they have keys. I said, have y'all been to the house? Have y'all been in Jaden's room? They said, no. Why? Because there's a light on in Jaden's room. They both said no. When we walked down to his room, there was a ring light that was by his desk, and it was on. And nobody's been in his room. I called his sister immediately. I said, hey, I don't know what's going on because I've never had anything like this happen before. There's a light on in your brother's room and nobody's been in the house, in his room. Nobody's been down here. And she said, Jaden did that. She said, I've read books about that, and that is a sign to you all that he's okay. She said, once your grief dies down, Jaden's going to come to you in your dreams in different ways, but your grief is so strong right now. But he was able to turn that light on for you. That was a lot. Sometimes, it's still hard to believe that he's not here. It is. But as time's gone by, he's came to me in my dreams on days where I had really bad days. I lay down and I have dreams of him. He comforts me. I've done a lot of things in these last couple of months that I've never done before, like going to counseling. That's helped me a lot. Never been before, but I recommend it because it helps to talk. Grief is so overwhelming. I was eating it, I was sleeping it, I was waking up with it, and I was going to sleep with it. And counseling helped me to just talk and get it out. Some days I cried, some days I didn't. I also meditate. That gives me a peace when I meditate. I'll never forget my son. Me and my husband will have him in our hearts forever. But we have a peace that he's in a better place and he's okay. I love him. I always love him. But one day I'll see him again. And that's my story.